Hey, take a look over here on the screen. I'm over here. Or am I over there? You see what I see? This is what I see. Put yourself in my shoes if you can, and just imagine what it would be like to be losing your two most precious tools. After 8.5 years of being a volunteer for a national live research organization, I decided it was time to give more back to the community. So in 2004, I decided to start my own not-for-profit charity called Foundation for Sight and Sound. And the reason I did that, because I couldn't give enough back to the community. This goes beyond raising money for research. My new organization, Foundation for Sight and Sound, is based on enhancing the quality of life for individuals affected by various origins and degrees of visual and auditory challenges. What I'm going to do now, before I go any further, which I think is probably the most important thing that I can do with anyone, is to make you folks uncomfortable. I'm not taking my clothes off, don't worry. I've really been diagnosed with 3 disabilities, not 2. They say I'm going deaf, they say I'm going blind, but they also say that I'm a very corny person. I was born in September of 1952, so as you know, I'm an old man. And up until the age of 8, I considered myself to be pretty much a normal child like anyone else, until they found out that my sister had balance problems and was diagnosed with a hearing problem. When they just diagnosed her with a hearing problem, they had me checked out. I had to wear a hearing aid. You can imagine how it was for me to have a hearing aid at age 8 and be put into what I call the society of outcasts, because I looked different on the outside, but I was the same as everyone else on the inside. When I was 24 years old, I was already driving a car for 4 years, got in 15 somewhat car accidents. My doctor was suspicious and asked me to get my eyes checked. Got them checked, and that's when they found out I have what's known as retinitis pigmentosa. But combine that with the hearing loss, it's known as Usher syndrome, deaf blindness. What is my future going to be like? I have no clue. But I will be deaf and I will be blind one day if the cure, treatment, and prevention is not found in time. If I had to describe myself in one word, it would be courageous. That would be the word I'd use to describe myself. And the feeling of giving back and showing people that, hey, it ain't over yet. The party's still going on.
Are you scared? Are you scared thinking that you're eventually to lose your sight and your hearing and they'll try to cure?
The answer is, to some extent, but not really. I blocked that from my mind. I'm focused on the moment. I'm focused on surviving now.
It's time for Natalie Weinstein's Home Show.
Your story, Mitch. It's a story that's so uplifting in a situation that didn't have to be, but could have turned out very differently.
Well, I went through what I call my own personal tragedies, and that includes the business being sold, a divorce, being separated from kids, not having a place to call home. I can go on and on and on with the list, but the bottom line is I went through what I call a life-changing experience in North Carolina that changed the whole outlook of who I am and what I am. The simple message that I got out of it was that your greatest weakness is your greatest strength. And after 2.5 days of this life-changing experience, I realized that my greatest weakness was my vision and my hearing impairment. I chose to make that my strength and go forward from there. Coping with a double disability is technically not a very simple thing to do. But dealing with it on a regular basis, you can never forget the fact that your hearing is going or your vision is going, but you adjust. You make the changes as time goes by. If you're not willing to make change, you won't survive. Sometimes I don't even bother spell checking because it takes too much time for me and energy. I just like to do things to get it done and just move along. And I think about when I'm using a computer. I'm looking at a screen. Most people would see the whole screen and everything on the screen. And I might only see one letter or two letters of what's actually in front of me and have to keep scanning along. If I lower this to this magnification, actually the lowest magnification here, I'm looking at the O, but I still see part of this area right here. There's a large loss of independence. I mean, not being able to do things alone, including the simplest things of like shopping, and having to rely on people to tell me what colors I'm looking at. Well, it looks like it's blue. And take it down, and here it has the word dark blue written on the tag in large print so I can see it. It's your desire and willingness to continue and just do it anyway. You know, do the best you can. And I'm just a firm believer in that, and I enjoy doing it. I started thinking about how do we give back? I went to a local meeting and offered to get involved and just came up with an idea. I said, well, do you have somebody that goes around to schools and, you know, does speaking engagements or anything? I said, I think that's something I'd like to do. Giving back to the community is the most valid thing that you can do in your world. Anyone. Success does not mean what you make on a financial level. Success is self-fulfillment and knowing that you've made a difference. I have watched my father give away many parties to many charities and wanted nothing. All he wanted to do was give back. And as business owners here, you understand that when you do something like that and it comes from the heart, it comes back to you tenfold. My father was the primary example of that. And it taught me something. I'm a 365, 724 volunteer. But when I think about it is that I have many choices. Everything we do is about choice. I could have sat back in a chair, feel sorry for myself. I chose to make a difference in the world with everything that I had to offer. And I'm doing that. When I think about it, and I think about the disability aspect of where I've been, where I am, where I'm going, I like to think about the fact that it's not about my going deaf and blind. I really feel that God gave me a gift. He didn't take away this from me. He gave me something. He gave me the ability to make a difference to people.